This is the For Real Show with Daddy Chief.
My words symbolize the truth. Doing things only kings got the right to do. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real. Dinner, lunch, breakfast, never forget to say your prayers. Every meal is a blessing. I put money in the right investments. Still got a couple racks.
This is the For Real Show, and today we starting a new segment called the Nourishment series. This is episode 1 for that, and this is where we'll be coming in and chopping it up with people that are leading movements and or are part of a movement that we believe will serve as an inspiration and encouragement to the people. Okay, so this episode will be seen on various social media sites and it will be heard on multiple internet radio stations. Mainly will be on YouTube, on the Invest TV television channel. So please go over there, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And our home base is on This Is Radio for Real, and that's on investtv.club, sponsored by investtv.club. That is investtv.club. I got to push that. You know, a lot of y'all know me as Chief. Most of y'all know me as Raphael. Everybody knows me for keeping it real all the time. Hence, that's why this is the For Real Show. All right. Shout out to the treasure hunters. Because if you find any of our content, you definitely leaving that feeling gifted and treasured. All right. So our first guest for the Nourishment series. And this makes me very excited. Because this is somebody who is ascending, you know, and definitely evolving, you know what I'm saying, an entrepreneur in multiple fields, you know, from my hometown, childhood friend from the South Side L Town, Lansing, Michigan. We got Maurice Caradine in the house. What's going on? How
man?
you feeling,
What's
brother
good?
Mo?
Man, I'm good, bro. What about you?
Oh man, I'm all good. I'm all good, man.
What's
I'm
up?
inspired by what you got going on for sure, man. For sure. And as
Appreciate it, man.
you know, first thing I noticed was you know, because I've been going from Lansing for a while, man. So when I see what's going on, I'll be like, oh man, when you see how people how we went from middle school to where we at now, you see how
Right.
people growing. And I see that you've been getting people over their Mo Better blues with them Mo Better pies. You know what I'm saying?
I do what I can, man.
And
The
you
best sweet
know,
potato pies in the business, man.
oh man, and if I'm getting pie, sweet potato, I don't even want no other flavor. You know what I'm saying?
I feel it.
So
Right.
yeah, man. I definitely got to get there and experience that, you know. And when we talking about baking pies from where we're from,
Mm.
normally that's slang for people doing something else. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So you actually in the real game of this, man, and that's an
Yeah.
accomplishment, man. So I just wanted to ask a quick question about that. How did you learn that you had the talent to make not just make the pies, bake the pies,
Mm.
but they're good? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From what I've heard, they are. You
Oh
know.
yeah.
And
Um,
how'd you come up with the name and the logo?
I got you. Man, so I've always, man, enjoyed cooking,
Mm-hmm.
and baking too. Like my mom, she was baking forever, did the pound cakes, the cookies, the whole nine. So
Okay.
she got me going. But it was never something, I wanted to do like that. I used to just dabble in it. Um, but honestly, it was just it's crazy. It's kind of like that. What's the movie This Christmas? Was it This
Yeah.
Christmas with Danny Glover or Almost Christmas, whatever it is? With Danny Glover when his wife had died and he was trying to get the sweet potato pie recipe down pat for the
Okay.
family
Yep.
and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that's kind of how it was, man. I was just kind of playing around with some stuff because I've always loved sweet potato pie, but I was like, I want to try it out, and so it was during one of our shutdowns. I was just playing around with some stuff, And I was like, man, this tastes good. But of course, we always gonna say our stuff is good. So I was like, yo, let
Right,
me just, hit up some family and friends and everything. And everybody was like, yo, you might have some here. So I'm like, oh,
man.
okay, because they're gonna be your toughest critic.
Right,
So I took some to work, and they was like, bruh. One dude wrote up on me like, yo, I'm gonna need a couple of these pies, dog. And I'm like, man, I ain't even selling them. But I was like, let me venture out. So I just started doing slices at work,
hmm,
and then from there, so Mo Better actually came from it was a lady from an old church. She used to always call me that. And I was like, yo, I kind of like that as a name. So I just did the, Mo Better Pies. And then the
hmm.
logo, it was my man, actually somebody gave me his name from Detroit. He actually went to MSU too. So I just threw out some ideas and he came up with the logo. So yeah, man, just kind of started rolling from there. But I'm not gonna lie, um, like it's cool. And if I'm gonna keep it 100, it's still like some questions if that's really a route I want to go on. I know I got a good product, but as far as
Right,
time and just commitment and stuff, like my heart ain't all the way there.
right. I
So
understand.
so yeah, I've been kind of putting on the sideline a little bit. Of course, we're gonna talk about the book, but pushing the book and stuff. But I still do it, but I'm not all in like I should be. So just
Nah,
trying to figure out if that's really something I want to stick with and not, what I'm saying, burn out and just hate it altogether. So
right. Well,
yeah,
I understand that 100%, man. My
yeah.
pops is the one who had the Mr. Corned Beef on the Michigan State campus.
I heard,
And
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And we had to let that go, man. And
Uh,
it does get like that sometimes,
yeah.
man. But one thing that I realized from that, and it kind of brings me to my next question
Hmm.
before we move on from this. Like, is it hard to get placements and places that you can sell it from or on the
Nah,
regular?
nah. So that's not the issue for me. I think the issue for me, man, 'cause I work full time too.
Yeah,
So I'm still at GM. So I think for me, it's time. And so when it comes down to it, I'm on third shift. Man, sometimes I'm just like, bro, I'm good on pies. I'm good on every. I just want to
yeah,
just sit back, relax, chill. So I don't know if it's more. I don't want to use the word comfort as much as it is just I don't know if I really know what it is that I really have.
right.
And so this could actually it could go a number of different directions. But I'm you know what, maybe it is comfort. And maybe it's just I'm just comfortable at where I'm at and I don't want to uh venture out and see where this could go because now that's gonna require a lot more of me that I don't know if I'm ready to do. And so
Okay.
I think a lot of it just had to do with and just working third shift, man. I don't know if people ever done it, but bro, it can weigh on you. Just it's a totally different, time of day, the whole nine. So your body not used to that, and it's just like,
Right.
bro, I'm good on. You really just want to you don't want to do nothing really, dog. It just drains you, dog. I'm not gonna hold you up,
I
and so I think
understand.
that's what it is. So as far as like ventures and stuff, no, I can always farmers markets, events, all that.
Hmm.
I can do all of that, but it's the fact that I'm not trying to push it like that. So
All right. Well,
trying to I
sure.
got to make that shift.
That aspiring chefs, that's information they needed to know. You know what I mean? Because hey,
Yeah, bro.
anytime you dropping something or producing something that people
Hmm.
consuming, you a
Yeah,
chef. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You a chef now. What about delegating and then getting some mailbox money? Like say I'm like, all right, Mo, I got you a flight down here to Florida, man. I need you to show
hmm,
these seven munchkins I
hmm,
got
hmm,
how to get these pies to perfection. And then
yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I'm saying, we're gonna go out into these mom and pop shops that we
hmm,
regulars at and get these deals together. And then you got 50% coming to you every month.
yeah, yeah.
Is
No,
that something you'll be into?
so I'm actually we kind of like in the works on that because again, it's about passion, it's about drive, and if you don't really have, if that's not really something you trying to do, I promise you, it's not going to succeed.
Hmm.
And so me and somebody else, we working on that right now. So no, that's definitely a venture, and I think as time goes on and I become more business based,
Hmm.
like it's cool just want to just do pies, but I think it's the other aspect of the finances, the time, all that stuff where I'm just kind of like, yo, I'm good on that. I don't even want to deal with that. But I think once I become more locked in, I think it will become more prevalent, not prevalent, but just more aware of what I have.
Yeah.
Um, because now it all come together as it's supposed to, and not just like I'm just focused just on the pies. So it's a
Oh,
business. It's just not pies. And so that's where my mind is just like, yo, I just rather do the pies, forget everything else. And that's where I think that's where it's failing because
mm.
I'm not taking the time to cultivate the thing like it should though.
Man, yeah, that make a lot of
Yeah,
sense. That make a lot of sense, man. For real. Yeah, I'll put these little ones to work, man, and you'll just be getting mailbox money. You ain't gotta worry about the cost of nothing, man. Just
I feel it. I feel it. Right, right.
you just gotta open the mailbox once a
Yeah,
month and get that
there go
check
my
up out
check.
of
Right,
there.
I feel it.
uh, and next, man, we gonna jump into on top of being a chef, man, you a new author now. You know what I
Yes, sir.
mean?
Yeah,
So we have The Broken Man's Healing Journey, redefining the narratives created for men.
yeah.
Man, congratulations on that.
Appreciate it, man.
You know
Appreciate
what
it.
I mean? And I mean, we gonna get into it. I don't want to give too much away, but I had a quick question of
Hmm.
what would you say defines broken and
Hmm.
realizing that you're at that point.
So for me, man, I think broken is actually just subjective, man. I think it just depends
Mm,
on the person and where they at. So it can come in a bunch of different things. It can come from death, it can come from finances, health, everything. And so relationships. So for mine, it was relationships, but yeah, it can come from a number of different directions. And you realizing that something's got to change or something's got to give. And I think that's what it was for me. We're so quick to what I'm saying, point fingers, to blame, play the victim, but the reality is we're more in control than we really think we are.
mhm,
And so what happens is we rather, use other people as scapegoats instead of us taking accountability like we should. And so I think that's what it was for me, man. I just finally had to take a step back and be like, yo, what part am I playing in this? You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Where am I going wrong? What things am I doing that I can shift? And I think that's where I realized, like, yeah, you got a lot of things that you hung on to, that you accepted, that you made your reality. And
mhm.
I think that was the brokenness. Like, no, we gotta do something different. We gotta change this narrative. So that's what it was for me.
Yeah, yeah, I get that because we all go through that,
Yeah,
and you got to be able to identify it and humble yourself into being accountable to what you see going on, man. And it's we a lot of us will push it away instead of
yeah,
dealing
oh
with
yeah,
it. And it
because
says, yeah,
because it's more difficult for us to sit in that stuff
hmm,
than it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier for me to say, no, it's everybody else because
yeah,
I don't have to. It doesn't require nothing of me. But when I got to sit in it and realize, like, nah, I play a huge part in this. It's super uncomfortable and it's scary, yo. It's
yeah,
scary because now you realize, man, I'm the reason. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Now, don't, granted, there are some external stuff that does play, but the majority of it we have control over, and
yeah,
so we realize, like, man, I've been doing this wrong for so long. I gotta do something different, but a lot of times people don't want to do it differently because it's just, again, it's harder to look at ourselves than it is to point fingers. It's easier to point fingers. So yeah,
right, for real. It's,
yeah,
it's easier to push the blame,
right,
and when you it's one thing to make the decision, and then it's another thing to like that's the only choice is to stop
yeah,
doing that, like,
exactly,
yeah. So I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying, man. And it's the broken man's. It says the broken man's, but it's for the
hmm.
ladies as well.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
everybody go
So
get your cop. Yeah,
yeah, so understand this is just from a male perspective. You know what I'm
right.
saying? The things that I was going through, but don't get it twisted. Women go through the exact same things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for women, they're a little more in tune to their emotions, and some aren't. But I'm just saying, so they can kind of, it might be a little different from them. But I'm just speaking from men. This is just stuff we don't necessarily do, or the stuff we don't learn to do. And so that was a whole another feat in itself to just step out of that box and be like, yo, I'm gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna be open and transparent. Like, yo, dudes ain't
Yeah.
trying to do that. And so, yeah, so that was a whole another level of growth and maturity, bro.
Man, for the aspiring authors out there. So we already done put some nuggets out there for the
Hmm.
aspiring chefs. Now the aspiring authors.
Right.
I'm guessing that it's you live through something and then you well, one thing I know for sure with you, you have a daily relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? So when you live through something and you bring it to God
Hmm.
and it feeds your God given purpose, it comes out in
Hmm.
product. Okay. And when it comes out in product, I'm assuming that you're writing the book, you're proofreading, you're rewriting anything if you need to before the release. Is that kind of how your process went? You wrote it, proofread it, did any changes you needed to do, and then released, or did you have other people look at it before you
Oh yeah.
wanted to get
So
to,
oh yeah, definitely. So
okay.
normally, so it's a couple avenues you could take. So if you self-publishing,
Mhm.
um, so granted, bro, I've been wanting to write a book for like 20 years, dog.
Yeah, I hear
So
that.
I got, yeah, so I got notebooks on top of notebooks. The difference is the other ones that I've thought about writing, it all felt forced. And I
Mhm.
think that had to do with the maturity and the growing aspect of the other books were more still I'm gonna kind of put the blame on other people
Yeah.
instead of me taking accountability. And I think that's what made it so forced because the reality was I still hadn't dealt with what I need to deal with. And so this one, it's more no me taking accountability, me taking responsibility. So when it came real, the process was really just me. All right, now that I know what direction, let me just go ahead and start writing. And so once you do that, uh, some people just go ahead and let family, friends do the editing, whatever. I was like, nope, I want this to be the legit. So I actually reached out to an editor.
Mm.
So they actually had my manuscript for about a month, and they dissected the whole thing, whatever, gave me my feedback. Um, and I think, yo, once you accept the reality of like, yo, this is what I'm supposed to do,
Mhm.
everything else kind of fell into place. So when it came from editing, when it came to reaching out to somebody doing the design, just everything. When it came out to just uploading the book on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, even the book signing, all that stuff, um, it was honestly, I feel like it was less than a year, bro. Like a few
Yeah.
months, once I got everything in line. So it's basically you knowing what you have and you being true and authentic to what it is that you write. And I think once you do that, I think everything else falls in place, man. Not forcing it, not trying to change the narrative,
Right.
not trying to whatever. Just you just being authentic to what it is that you write, and everything will serve its purpose.
Yeah, that's it, man. When you letting when God is a part of it, it's a breeze.
Yeah,
When you let it go, and give it to Him, yeah, it's a breeze, and that's that's a hard thing for
yeah,
people to
yeah.
realize as well. Now, you said you went to a legit editor. Now, that's something
Mm,
right there.
yeah.
You're
So
saying
no,
words.
so if you do, yeah, so like if you're doing like nonfiction like I did,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be a little cheaper. But if you're doing like depending on the size and everything, wording and all
Yeah.
that, so they do charge, what I'm saying, by the word.
Mm.
Um, so it can go anywhere from $1,000 to up to 8,000, something like that, just depending on the size of the book. So
Yeah.
so definitely take that into account. But if you're doing nonfiction, more like biography type stuff, it's gonna be a little cheaper because again, that's your experience, your words, and all that
Right.
stuff. So they'll just tailor it to how it needs to be. But when you're doing like nonfiction, they're gonna break it all the way down. Like, yep, maybe this needs to go here, this needs to go there, type stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Oh man, yeah, that's you giving me information I had no
oh bro,
idea about
oh
right
yeah, yeah,
there.
yeah. No, if you're doing editing,
Mm-hmm.
and that was I just did editing, so they do the editing, the proofreading, and all that. But if they even go other levels and they go line by line and all that.
Yeah.
So depending on the type of editing, yeah, it can get a little pricey, bro.
Well, you said it goes based on how many words it is and how big the
Yeah,
book is. But to
yeah,
be honest, for you to put that type of investment into yourself, it
hmm,
goes into how much you believe in what you're
right,
doing,
exactly,
for real.
exactly.
Because
Yeah,
if you believe in it, then hey, this is, you know, all you got to do is have faith and believe, and it's gonna
right,
happen. You just got to keep
exactly.
going. And yeah, you definitely opening my eyes up to a few things. So the cover art, the book size and font, things like that? Was that on you?
Yeah, um, so that was another thing. So when it came down to it, so there's different avenues again. If you're doing self-published, you can take the grunt of it and just do like you can find your own editor, find your own designer, all that stuff. That's gonna be the cheaper route. Now they do have things called hybrid publishing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, and I now that I've looked into it, because that was the route I was gonna go, because it seemed like that'd be smooth. I was like, something just don't feel right. So basically, what they'll do, they'll just take on your whole project. So
Mm.
they'll do the editing and advertising, all that stuff,
Yeah.
the design, all that. But they make their money mostly off the author.
Mm.
So once the book is released, now I don't know how it works as far as marketing and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
it's basically at the end of the day, it's like, all right, we did what we supposed to do. Now whatever happens to the book sale, that's kind of like on you. And
Right.
so
Right.
them jokers go from most of them start at like, 3, 4 grand, and they can go all the
Ooh-wee.
way up to about, 15, 20, depending on, what type of advertising they doing and all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
that one I was kind of like, you know what? Yo, it sounds good, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna take a big hit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially now, don't get me wrong. Like, if you got a good book, I mean, it can sell whatever. But let's say you don't get to sell as you want. You just came out of like 5, 6 grand,
Yeah.
and now you got to make, what I'm saying, try to make all that back. And so I was like, nah, I'm good. So I pretty much just came out about 1,300 for the whole process.
Oh yeah. That ain't bad.
Because actually Amazon and Barnes and Noble, it's free to actually upload your stuff and all that
Mm-hmm.
on there. So all you got to do is the editing and all that. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question right
yeah,
there. If so, Barnes and Nobles and Amazon get their money on the back end, but a very, very small percentage. Is that how that
yeah.
works? Okay.
So depending on the style, so like ebook, you make more off of ebooks
Mm-hmm.
or Kindles.
Yeah, that's kind of
Um,
where I'm at right
yeah,
now. I've been doing the
percentage.
ebook thing.
I think it's like 70% you get back. And then paperback, I think it's 50%, 55%
Okay.
that you get back from every copy sold. So
Okay.
yeah.
Now in the pre when you're pre-selling,
Mm.
is that like is there a grace period on there? Like, oh man, I missed this. Like even the editing missed this typo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only reason I did pre-sales, and I'm gonna suggest this to anybody, I did pre-sales because you can actually during that time, I set it like a month out, you can still make your edits. And not only can you make your edits, but you can also get author copies. So you
Mm-hmm.
can see what it looks like before it comes out. So every few weeks, I would get another copy to see like, all right, what do I got to change? Is this
Mm-hmm.
up to my liking? And so you can make edits all the way up to the release. And if it's not ready, you can actually extend the release date too, though.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So
Now,
I set it a month out. So I'm like, all right, let me just make sure. So you can see the margins, you can see all that stuff. And it was like, oh nope, that's off. So you can go back and change it, and they'll give you like the full preview of how it's gonna look and all that stuff too. So that's why I set it so far out, so I can make the necessary edits
man,
before it came out.
the fact that you say so far out and where my mind is going with it right now, like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm doing something that's, nonfiction and, it's autobiography type things,
Mm-hmm.
then I see what you're saying. Like that's like straight to consumer. You don't know how long, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The world need that right now. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I get what you're saying. If
Yeah.
I'm doing something that's fiction, shoot, I'm setting it out 18, 24 months
Mm-hmm.
for real
Oh no, yeah,
pre-sale.
you can definitely do that. Yeah.
Because what
Yeah.
I'm realizing is everything you pre-sale go into your first week of sales.
Right.
So hey man, I'm trying to do what I gotta do to break in. If it's something fiction and something
Yeah.
like if I want Netflix to pick it up and make
Right.
it to a series. So
Yeah.
this is information for the treasure hunters right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I set it out that far, because they said you'll be in the New York Times if you get 5,000 to 15,000
Yeah.
sales
Yeah.
in your first week.
Mm-hmm.
So autobiography things, nonfiction, I want to get that out to the people as fast as I can. But if
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something like how they say I'm doing my big one and I'm trying to
Yeah.
look at your bigger
Mm-hmm.
plays, try to get a movie or a series made with that New York Times stamp on it, it's almost guaranteeing it's gonna be a bidding war over whatever you got going on.
Mm,
So that's if you're doing the fiction route.
mm-hmm.
As far as how I'm looking at it, if
Right.
you're doing the fiction route, and
Right.
everything that you just told me, like it just clicked in my brain of
Right.
how it can work. You know what I mean?
And that was another shift I had to make, man. Writing it, I had to realize, like, bro, you're not doing this for money. Um,
Right.
because I promise you, if I was doing it for money, though, I would have never wrote about what I wrote about, hands
Yeah, I
down,
hear that. I hear that.
hands down. Um, so when I realized, like, bro, there's a purpose behind this, I think one that made it easier, but two, so let
Mm-hmm.
me just clarify. When it comes to pre-sales and everything you said is true, but if you're a first time author, don't get it twisted, bro, and you don't have a name out there like that,
Mm-hmm.
you might as well forget pre-sales because that's really not gonna happen like that.
Yeah, you
I
gonna
mean, you got a
lose.
few, you know what I'm saying? You got a few family and friends, unless you like really pushing it out there like that.
Yeah, you got to
Uh,
push it like crazy. Yeah.
yeah, you got to push it like crazy. So for me, I'm like, bro, I'm good on that because this wasn't about money for me.
Right.
Um, so again, I set it out a month out so I can make the necessary changes. So again, if you're going into it for money, then you better find you a great marketing team or whatever
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
if you count on pre-sales, then yeah, you're gonna
Right.
really have to push that joker. So for me, I wasn't tripping on pre-sales. I just let people know they could go ahead and pre-sell it because they had
Right.
the opportunity to, but I also let them know why I was doing it so far out
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, nope, let me still make the necessary changes. So yeah. So
Yeah.
just to throw that nugget out there. If you're doing it for money, then definitely get you a marketing team though.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's it right there,
Yeah.
man. That's something. Now we're gonna dive into some of these social media posts, man, that I've the transparency posts, man. Your social media posts. All right. You have some very transparent and profound posts. Okay. And things that you say and some of the words that you're using. Okay. And in today's culture of relationships, as
Okay.
far as relationship with God, relationship with
Mm-hmm.
self, and relationship with others. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And my I told you a little bit before about my therapy. When I was stressing and struggling with some things, I went to therapy. The first session, the lady walked me through ways to exercises and things that you can do to where your body can handle the stress, get over it, and conquer it. And halfway through our second session, she switched seats. She had me sit behind her desk and was like, "You helping me way more than I could ever help you." And from that day forward, I started working with that practice. And one thing about it with me is the practice that I work with is holistic counseling. So that was the first thing. And when it comes to me, anything, it's like if God doesn't reveal to me what to say, then I don't speak. I just keep
Mm,
listening until I'm led to speak. Okay,
got
when
you.
it comes to that, because you shouldn't play with people's emotions and feelings. Something I seen from a lot of people that do therapy. You see
Mm.
it from a lot of
So you
preachers.
actually so you actually do the counseling sessions?
Yeah, I actually
Okay, I got
do.
you.
Hmm.
Okay. All right.
And something you see in a lot of preachers and things like that as well is they start getting kind of that complex
Mhm.
where they feel like what they're saying to you is something that you should be following no matter
Right.
what.
Right.
And with me, I just never felt right about that. I don't think you should play with people's emotions and feelings at all like that.
Mhm.
So if the practice is not God led, then
Mhm.
you should get out of there. How I feel. And if they're
Okay.
judging you in any way, if you feel judged
Right.
in any way, you should get out. Not
Right.
scared to hold yourself accountable, but
Right.
judged.
Yeah.
You should get out of there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's how I feel about it. So um that's why I don't just do sessions with people who struggling.
Okay.
I do sessions with people who are at peace and excelling at things that I feel like I'm struggling at,
Mhm.
for real. Like because I believe it should be beneficial for everybody involved. If I bring somebody to the table and I just think what I got to give to them is the only thing
Mm.
that matters here, then I'm being a disservice. For
So
real.
I'm curious. So how does all right? So how does that work as far as so what you just say you a counselor?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you don't have to have no
Anything
credentials
that
or nothing
goes.
like that?
Well, it depends on how deep you're trying to go into it.
I got you. Okay.
If you're trying to accept insurance and things
Hmm.
like that, then you're going into a whole nother field. Now, if you're in the
Okay.
field of like counseling, life coaching,
Got you.
you can do that how you feel
Got you.
is best. And if the
As long
people,
as people on
yeah,
board with it. I
yeah,
got you.
yeah.
Okay.
And if it's something that they feel like they're growing from,
Hmm.
you know, people stay, people go. You know what I mean? Like, so
Got you.
it's
Okay.
pretty much on them what they're looking for. Because a lot of people, like one of the ladies that I worked with, well, that I sat down with, was she's a Spanish lady, and she was
Hmm.
talking about going to church, and she didn't
Okay.
speak much English. So she said, so she actually had people line up so she could show me what she was trying to tell me.
Hmm.
She said that the pastor of the church was going down the line hugging people, and she didn't
Hmm.
have the clothes on like everybody else did. Like she didn't feel like she was dressed good enough, you know. And she from Guatemala, and she said when they got to her, they didn't hug her, embrace her, and kiss her on the cheek. Like they tapped her on the shoulders and turned
Hmm.
her head, and it completely turned her
Hmm.
away from wanting to be in a congregation. Because the way I see it, God trusted the temple. You are the temple. You are the church. When you come to
Hmm.
church, you're congregating. You know,
Hmm.
and so as we were working through that, like that was something that stood out to me a lot because people would get in that complex and start looking at what's in the flesh
Hmm.
instead of being, what I'm saying, instead of being God led, and the people that are really looking for that help, they can feel that.
Yeah.
So when they want to go to the conventional, because anything that's holistic, a lot of people are, oh, that ain't conventional. Some people will move off of that, but then they're realizing like a lot of those things are progressing because it's actually helping people. It's a lot that goes into it, but yeah,
Got you.
it's a beautiful thing when you can find that place where you're being a service, and that you're being blessed back
Right.
for being a blessing. You know, so one of the things that I implemented once I got into this particular place was that we would write down what each other were saying that stood out to us. And we wouldn't speak on it in the moment. We would take it home and study it and then come back with what we feel was revealed to us and what questions we had.
When you say each other, who is that?
Like the person, like me and the person that I'm
Working. I
counseling
got
that
you.
day.
Okay. Okay.
So they would write down what I was saying that stood out to them, and I would write down what they were saying that stood out to me. Take it
Okay.
home, study it, and then write down everything that you feel like it revealed to you and what questions you had to dig a little bit deeper. And then we come back and have those conversations,
Mm.
and
Okay.
the rapport that builds is kind of like when God brings two or three together, he's there. So it builds that rapport, and you really start figuring things out. And a lot of the anxiety and things you realize was your timidity and your stagnant. You might have been thinking like I was going to be this by this age, and it's not there. So it starts raising up that panic. And on the physical side of that, people don't realize when you're panicking, the first thing that happens is the oxygen leaves your brain. Okay, so now you trying to work through whatever your body's feeling without the oxygen. So you got to breathe and get the oxygen back in there. So it's step by step, and once you really start breaking these things down, and then you start getting to the root, you go from talking to people to building businesses with people. You see what I'm saying? Like it truly is a beautiful thing, man. And so I seen your post on Facebook, and I studied them. I study them. You got a whole bunch of posts on there, so I got to narrow it down. But I
You
studied
don't know?
them. I
Okay.
studied them, and the space that I believe that God created me to live in is when he reveals things to me through
Mm,
what people like through your post. I was revealed things,
mm-hmm.
and now I get to share them. You know, and that's where that's the space I want that I believe I was created to live in. That's where I want to
Okay.
live. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? For real, because I believe it's a great thing. And what I noticed when I was reading your post is that you answer a lot of the things that you said from your first post to when you get like 5 posts in, you're answering the things that you had in your first
Mm-hmm.
post. You see what I'm saying? So when I was getting what I was getting when I was studying it, it wasn't like I was gonna come to you like, hey man, you need to do this. Nothing
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like because I already know that you have a daily relationship with God, these things are working out. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? But it's a lot of things that you're saying that I hear, and that when I say if God doesn't speak, I don't. If He doesn't tell me what to say, I don't speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of things that I was unable to speak on for people that was revealed to me in what you were saying. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And how it was revealed to you through the transparency post that you were making. So I want to dive into a couple of them, and
Okay.
I want to see like where your mindset was at, and I want to see how.
I feel like you need consent or something, bro. No, nah, you good.
We'll edit it out, man.
No, you good, bro. If
You
it's on
gotta
social
edit that
media,
one
bro,
out, bro.
it's fair game, dog.
Do you get paid for likes you receive on Facebook?
No.
No. Do you get paid for likes you receive on Instagram?
No.
Do you get paid for likes you receive on investtv.club?
Yes.
Register for your channel on investtv.club today. That's investtv.club, the place where your content is appreciated. Join the club. Now back to the vibes. For real.
All right, man. Let's get into it, man.
Mm,
So, and this is why you had to be the first episode of the Nourishment series, because revelation come from the things that are being brought through you. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? So that's
mm.
a great thing. That's a
Okay.
great thing. So we got to get to February 26th. Was
Hey,
the first was the
that this year or last year?
this year.
Oh, okay.
Everything
Okay.
is from 2026. Trust me, I seen
2026.
some from
Oh,
back.
okay.
I seen
Okay.
some from back. I seen
I was about to say,
2024.
yeah,
It was one I was like,
bro.
I was like, he going
Yeah.
in. Excuse me. But it's something about these 10 these 10 days from February 26th into March that I was like, all right, something going on here.
Okay. I'm trying to get a timeline, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you're gonna read it. So
Oh yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna read it.
yeah. You good?
See, that's part of what I was talking about. Like we wrote down what each other was saying, and then we read it back to
Yeah,
each other.
yeah.
You know. So yeah, I'm gonna get into February 26th. All right. You said
26.
transparency moment. So God and I are having a conversation about relationships. And I was like, you know what,
Mm,
God, I'm good on the waiting, growth, patience, all that. Just let me have something toxic because this being alone thing is for the birds. Of course, God being God is like, son, you are free to do whatever you like. You have free will. But just so you know, feelings are the same things that keep people in bondage. I am perfecting and developing you in preparation for what you truly desire, not what you envy. Everyone who has someone is not happy, but they are either comfortable or in chaos. I don't want you in comfort, but I want you in bliss and something that is blessed. Then you say, my response, yeah, God, but at least they have somebody. God's response, bruh, chill out. Trust, I got you. Just keep seeking me and watch how I show out on your behalf if you would just get out of your feelings. most men won't even admit they desire love because they never truly learn how to. So don't conform because it's uncomfortable, but stay the course and trust the process and keep walking with expectancy and faith. Now, there's a lot there. There's a
Yeah.
lot there. And
Yes.
when you said, just let me have something toxic, because this being alone thing is for the birds. Define toxic for me. Define
So no.
toxic.
So just some clarity. That was the toxic part was a joke. When I say
Mm,
toxic, it was just me just saying, just let me have somebody. I don't care how
yeah,
bad it is. You know what I'm saying? So it was just one of those transparency moments. Like, bro, I'm doing the work. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing the healing, the process, the whole nine. When am I gonna be able to basically get the fruit of, what I'm saying, my labor type joint? And so
right, right.
these are, and honestly, yo, these are legit conversations that me and Guy have. Like the way me and Guy set up, I'm to the point like, bro, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm not feeling, like we gonna have a conversation about it.
Yeah,
And the great thing about God is he like, bro, let's do it. Like that's what I really want for us to have is these genuine conversations.
right,
So
right.
I can take you to another level. And so I really just be like, God, like, yo, I'm not feeling this. And so when
Hmm.
I just said toxic, it was just me just saying, like, I don't care what type of relationship it is. At this point, just let me have somebody.
Right. And
And
see,
so, go ahead.
real quick, one of the first things why this was the first post that stood out to me was
Hmm.
how you and God were speaking to one
Hmm.
another. Cause I'm like, man, this is what I do. You know,
Yeah.
like this is how me and
Hmm.
God speak.
Hmm.
Like a lot of people would be thinking it's a lot of people that long for that,
Yeah.
you know, but it's a certain way that you got to prioritize God every day.
Hmm.
That's why I say it over and over and over again, that daily
Hmm.
relationship, because it's that level that you desire. The thing when people look at certain people at a place with God and they be like, man, they shun you away a little bit because of
Hmm.
that. But that's
Hmm.
because their desire to have that. You
Right.
can't come see God once a week for that
Hmm.
type of relationship.
Yeah.
You gotta know it's daily.
Hmm.
So yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. And so it was, I mean, it was just one of those spaces, bro. And again, I talk about it in the book and all that. So like my desire to be a husband, my desire to be in a relationship.
Hmm.
But the thing was, I think a lot of us we romanticize that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so we romanticize being in a relationship, we romanticize being with somebody, but we don't really understand what it takes.
Hmm.
And so it's cool to be in a relationship to say that you have somebody, but like again, like God has said, bro, everybody that got somebody don't mean it's good.
Right.
It's gonna
True.
be it could be chaos, it could be turmoil, all this stuff.
Hmm.
But again, we on the outside looking in, and all we see is that person having somebody, and we
Right.
like, yo, that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is, you don't really want that.
Right.
And so God is like, when I do what I need to do in you, whoever comes your way, you've already cultivated that thing on your end. So what's gonna come your way is already gonna be blessed. You see what I'm saying? And so
Right.
when we don't take the time to do what we supposed to do, everything else is gonna look good
Yep. Yep.
because it's something that we envy, it's something that we covet, whatever word you want to use, because you've made the desire basically your God. And so
Mm.
that's why God was like, yo, just chill out, know what I got for you is for you.
Right.
And again, even though you desire it, don't think that I don't have it coming for you, but you actually gonna prolong the very thing I'm trying to get to you because you out of pocket. And
Yep.
so yeah, no, them the conversations we had, bro. I promise you.
Man,
Every
that's
second,
it.
every minute, every hour.
That's it right
Yeah.
there. Now, another thing that had stood out was I had it's a young man on the basketball team that I'm training,
Okay.
and he said, and man, he got promise. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay.
he really takes what you say and implements it into his game, like
Okay.
for real.
Hmm.
And he was stressing one day. I'm like, man, what's going on with you? He like,
Yeah.
man, this girl toxic, man. This girl toxic. And in my mind, I'm like, I know I already done told you, like, you need to focus on your books, focus on
Right.
God, and focus on your game more than these females right now. You know what I'm saying? But he like, man, she toxic, man. She just cheated on me with her guy best friend. All this
Hmm.
time, she like, that's my guy best friend. And I didn't really know what to say when about the word toxic. And but I realized, you know what I'm saying, toxic is competition. If somebody in competition with you in everything, you know what I'm saying, like you say it's left, they say it's right in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And so when you was like, just give me something toxic, I was like, oh man, this
To,
dude wants
to an
opposition
to an
around
ex,
him at
to
all
an
times.
extent, to an
Yeah,
extent.
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's competition. I would for me, I would personally say
Mm-hmm.
it's somebody that you know is not meant for you.
Mm,
So what you say is competition is actually misalignment.
mm-hmm.
And
Forcing.
so, yeah, and so when you know that person, or you know what, let me rephrase it. I'm not even gonna say that person. When you know you're not in the space you're supposed to be in,
Mm,
you actually gravitate to people that you're not supposed to gravitate toward. And so what happens is
mm,
when you're out of position, everything is gonna be misaligned. So toxicity is just really just misalignment, bro. And so that's why it's gonna be so much chaos. That's why you're always gonna be bumping heads, and that's why it might feel like competition because you ain't where you supposed to be, they ain't where they supposed to be, and y'all done came together in dysfunction. So that's
wow.
why, yeah.
Yeah. Now, would you say that loneliness challenging your godliness will put you in a place where you're
Oh,
forcing those
definitely, bro.
situations? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because again, you made the relationship your God. And so
Mm,
instead of being like, all right, God, what do I need to get in this season? I'd rather bypass our relationship
right.
to get in this relationship. And
Right.
even if it breaks me or uh damages me and God's relationship, I'm fine with that to say that I have somebody on this end. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so yeah, so that loneliness becomes magnetized or amplified because all you hear is I don't have anybody.
Mm,
When right, and then in this time, the only person you need is God, so He can develop you and cultivate you into what you need to be. But because God is not technically physical, that loneliness now trumps the very thing that we need in this time, though.
man.
So yeah,
See. Yeah, that's what's up. See, now that young man just graduated. He going to play at UCF. He going to Central Florida.
okay,
And
okay,
I can't wait till he get this episode, man. He definitely gonna need it when he on that campus.
yeah, yeah, bro.
But
Yeah, because everything gonna definitely look good, man. But at the end of the day, you got to realize what's more important: your peace or your flesh. And so I
right.
think that's the key thing, bro.
Now let me real quick share with you what God
Hmm.
shared with me from this. Okay, so you said
From
so
that
God,
post,
yeah, from this
okay,
post. This
okay,
is when I was studying it, this is what
hmm
God shared with me. You said in the post, you said, I was like, you know what, God, I'm good on the waiting, growing, patience, all that. At that point, he was like, he's talking with me. So you're talking with God. So when you say that you're good, that means that I'm reaching my peak with the waiting, growing, what I'm saying, patience.
hmm
But he said he's talking with me. So he's
hmm
talking with God. So when God hears you say that, he doesn't hear you saying you're done with those things.
hmm
Hears you say that you're giving up on waiting with God,
hmm
growing with God,
hmm
patience with God. You're not giving up on the waiting, growing, and patience
yeah,
because that's gonna happen regardless.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? But the with God part
yeah,
was the part of it, and that really just opened my
hmm
eyes because I know that I do this
hmm
in different parts. I
oh,
know that I do
everybody
it.
does, bro.
Yeah,
Everybody does. Yeah.
yeah. And then he said, follow your way to the chaos, you
hmm
know, follow my way to the blessings.
hmm
You know, your true desires are rooted in godliness, but chasing what you see that makes you envious will result in unhappiness for you. And then that comes from the part where you know he says that he's preparing you for what you truly desire, not what you envy.
Right.
You know, and then when you stop letting your feelings lead you into hard-headed thinking, continue to wholeheartedly trust in God because he is constructing love for you that is going to wipe out all the worries on time you may feel like you wasted or missed. you know. So the time where you feel like you wasted or missed, like all of that's gonna be outweighed when
Yeah,
that joy, when he reveals what joy he's been building
right.
up to, you know.
And
So I was just
the
like,
crazy part is, bro,
mm,
what people fail to realize is, God is the God of time, dog.
mm,
So, what makes seem like a year for you could be a
right,
second for God. And so
yeah, true,
we forget that God is all everything. And so, and the crazy part about it is we so quick to do things wrong for years and years and years, but then when we finally get a revelation, we want God to instantaneously get on board with the chaos that we've caused for years. And
right, right,
God is like, nah, this is my time now because you did your thing. Now this is gonna be me and you. And I think that's where we miss it. Like we think just God is just gonna miraculously just get in line with whatever it is that we had going on all them years. And God is like,
mm,
no, I gotta redo everything that you messed up to get you back to where I wanted you. So yeah, that's the crazy part, man.
man, yeah, that's something, man. For real, man, we ain't even that far in like that, but it's
Yeah.
already blessing me, man. We got now I'm going into March 2nd. We was at February 26th, now
Dang.
we at March 2nd. And you said, as I near completion of my book, I
Mm,
can't help but wonder how many of us that are single and even those who are currently in relationships really know what healthy love looks like. When I say healthy love, I don't mean just tolerating someone, but the type of love that allows two people to disagree, but still be on one accord. The type of love that doesn't require someone to constantly question, second guess, or doubt if the other is faithful. Where you are not always at odds, and that person is not your enemy, but instead is your best friend, and you actually enjoy being with and around them. One you can actually pray for, cover, cherish, and protect? Or does healthy just mean neither one of you are going anywhere and this is the best we can do? Man, that's powerful right there. I ain't going nowhere, man. You the best I can do. That's that's you know,
yeah.
if there's definitely a fight coming if the
Yeah.
conversation is if that's the
Right.
conversation I'm having
Right.
with the person I'm with, but in the beginning you're talking about nearing the completion of your book. So you in a place where things are becoming clear who you are. You're not normal. You're not normal no more.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we said before, when you're in your God-given purpose and you start creating products with the creator, you know what I'm saying? Now you're in a place where you're nourishing his people through your purposeful living. You know what I'm saying? And God didn't say he the king of normal. He said he the king of kings. So
Mm-hmm.
once you start building, you lock in on your purpose and you start building that product. That's so important for everybody. That's what people don't realize. I'm in my purpose and I ain't doing nothing. That
Right.
doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Product is gonna build when you in your purpose. It has to because God's
Your
name,
gifts make room for you.
for real, his
Yeah.
glory is in everything you
Mm-hmm.
do, and it's gonna spread. That's just
Right.
what it is. You know what I'm saying? So when you're living that way, so creating this book, you were letting God know that you respect your kingship that he bestowed upon you, and you know that you're royalty, because you're not
Mm-hmm.
just, like you said, if you was doing it for the money,
Mm-hmm.
ain't no royalty in that.
Yeah.
The royalty is in what you do, what you know you're doing with God. It
Mm-hmm.
surpasses any type of worldly praise that you can get. You're being a service. So what we're doing right now is a king to king conversation that's overseen by the king of kings. So
Mm-hmm.
this conversation that we're having is high level. You know what I mean? And that's the first thing that stood out to me about that post. You know what I'm saying? Because that just opened my eyes to, like, we can't water down who we are. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? It's not God's intention. When he tell you he the king of kings, he wants you to know who you are. You're
Right.
royalty. When he
Mm-hmm.
created you as royalty. Are you diminishing your the kingdom that he's entrusted to you is what you're doing when you're not living in your purpose?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, everybody doesn't figure it out on everybody's time. But if you're not even trying or even thinking about it, what does your kingdom look like? Like,
Mm-hmm.
for real. So that was the first thing when I seen you right there at the beginning. He showed me that, and then the other thing, like I said in the first post, when you said give me something toxic, that's shock value. And
Mm-hmm.
when you was like healthy love, that's another shock value. And what he revealed to me from this post is healthy love is when you start the relationship in cleanliness, meaning that I will not come into this relationship dependent on any feelings of my past situations. We are not going anywhere if we are holding each other accountable for what others put us through. Not just a fresh start, but a baby fresh start. And we know
Mm-hmm.
that God says when you enter these situations, you're supposed to enter it childlike. You got to go at life
Mm-hmm.
childlike. So if I treat the person that I'm with anything from the person that I was with in the past, I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing a disservice to myself in this relationship.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what he revealed to me from that post right there.
And that's deep, bro. Um, yeah, and so I think yeah, that second post, it was simply again, when you looking on the outside in, all you see is relationship. But the reality is anybody can be in a relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can be with somebody. But the reality is what's the purpose? I think that was the question behind it. Like what's the purpose of you being with this person?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Are y'all really building? Are y'all really growing?
Right.
Or is it just to say, yo, I got somebody? And so anybody can say, oh, I'm in love, but the reality is what does healthy love look like? And so, yeah, I
Right.
mean, again, those are the things me and God be talking about. Like when you develop into becoming who you need to become, certain things no longer hold precedence anymore. And so my biggest thing with my relationship was I kind of made her my enemy. And I'm like, bro, why is that?
Mm.
And so now I had to go back into, childhood, all that stuff and figure out what was the reality. And the reality was, yo, I was always a one man show. So whenever you saw me, I was always solo. I'm still like that, bro. Like I'm solo everywhere I go.
Right.
I do everything on my own. So now when I bring somebody else in, I don't necessarily know how to make this a partnership because it's always been, what I'm saying, me. And
Mm.
so you trying to include, and I don't even know if I was really trying to include her like I should. I was just saying I was in a relationship. So I just had
Right.
somebody. But the reality is it was still me, myself, and I.
Mm.
And
Mm.
so that's something I had to, take a step back and be like, all right, why is that? And so, yeah. So, yeah, just, I mean, healthy love could just, again, I think that's subjective on where you at, the person, you, all that stuff. So it can come in a bunch of different ways, but you actually fully understanding what it is and what it looks like, though.
Man. Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. All right. And then you come back the next day. You went from March 2nd to March 3rd. I said, okay. You know, I mean,
Wow.
and it goes right into what you just said right there. You know, and what you said is how many of us are actually consulting God when it comes to our future partner. That's very that's very profound right there.
Mhm.
I mean, really including him and not just telling him what we want. We become so infatuated with their looks, how they initially treated us and made us feel, how people perceive us, how long we've been together, familiarity, and if we're being completely honest, how they are in bed. We start thinking and believing, surely this has to be the person, and we completely throw God and discernment out the window. Then, when we get married or too involved and things start shifting, we then turn to God and question if we made the right decision. Man, while God is like, you never included me in the first place. So keep doing what you're doing without me, like you've been doing, because of course you know what's best. Boy, boy, boy. Man,
Yeah.
to bring yourself to a level to where you can man, you know what it would take for me to post something like this? This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
some, yeah, hey, that's some real stuff right there. This
yeah.
is real things that's going
Right.
on, truly, you know. And what I seen at first in that is how you was like throwing God and discernment out the window, like denying God leads to wicked outcomes. You know what I'm saying? That's what we know. Making decisions that please your flesh and not even consulting with God, that's a scary place to be in,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then it comes back to, are we dating with intentions or is it just up in the air? You know, I
Mm-hmm.
told you I spoke when my parents were like, do you want the wedding or do you want the marriage? It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be some big ceremony. You can sit down on
Mm-hmm.
the couch and devote yourselves to one another,
Yeah.
her, and God. You know what I mean? And that's binding in God's eyes. You know, and so dating with intentions was the first thing that that came from me reading that post. And then it brought me to, okay, how you said, are we even consulting with God?
Mm-hmm.
And what does God say when we on the path to getting married? So I said, let me look at this. And then Ephesians 5:22-25, that's when it's talking about the love and submission. When it says,
Mm-hmm.
wives, submit yourselves
Submit to your husband.
into
Yeah.
your own husbands as unto the
Mm-hmm.
Lord. For the husbands, for the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives even as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. Okay? So men and women weaponize that scripture right there.
Mm-hmm.
Men are like poking their chest out, like, you
Mm-hmm.
got to do what I say. And women are like, if I ain't going on, got the ring going down the aisle with you, I ain't
Mm-hmm.
submitting to nothing. Okay, men and women weaponize that scripture right there.
Yeah.
And what we have to realize is God is calling for a culture of respect when he says that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A godly man is empowered by loving his woman. A godly woman is empowered by submitting to her man. It's the love that warrants the submission. So when the ones that poke their chest out and just say they girl need to do what they woman need to do what they tell them, are you loving her? And then the woman who says, I ain't going down the aisle, God don't want you to go down the aisle and then think that ring is just going to switch things. The culture
Mm-hmm.
of respect, knowing that you're not just going to turn into that person after you've been rejecting that for the time y'all been dating. You know what I'm saying? So these are things you have to build, that culture of respect by the love and the submission. And when I was reading your post, it took me down through kind of like a
Mm-hmm.
rabbit hole, because then we look at Genesis 2:24, I believe, when it speaks on how you leave your parents and become
Mm-hmm.
one flesh with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then that got me thinking, like, say you with you have your wife and she go on a girls trip to Tulum, or you go with your fellas, God sees y'all as one flesh. So if they cheat, God see you in the bed with them. You see what I'm saying? Or he sees your wife in the bed with you with that other woman. You know, so if that culture of respect, if that love and submission is not there, but then I was like, okay, what about where we're at in life now? I'm not living with my parents no more. She ain't living with her parents no more. We not at that young age no more. How does the love and the submission look to us now? You know, how do we get to that point? And I want to run something by you and see how you feel about it, because
Mm-hmm.
some people probably think it's a little out there, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have some females that's like, y'all need a female to have this conversation with y'all. They're gonna demand that you come back on the For Real show and we had this conversation again, you know. But we're talking about the love and the submission. And when you speak on, if you try to put it in terms that if people that aren't into their scriptures, or if they really don't know, if you look at it like, how can you get to that point where you know you're with the right person?
For your weekly dose of revelation, tune into the My Mother and Me Bible Study on channel 100 on investtv.club and on YouTube. New episodes on Sundays.
If you're dating with intentions. Now, let me ask you if this is something you would do. Okay. You got your own place.
Mm-hmm.
She got her own now. Like we're not in our teens, we're not in our 20s, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So most likely we're not leaving our parents' house and and becoming one and building that way. So now if you're still young and you building that way, power to you. You know what I'm saying? That's great. But now that we're older, how does that come about? So I was thinking about this, and I'm like, if you're dating, and you're with a lady that you believe could be your wife, you're getting that feeling. Y'all haven't crossed that physical line. She has her own place. Do you, or I'll ask this as would you make a room in your house? Like I want you to move into my house. Don't get rid of your place. I'm going to pay the bills at your place. I want you to come stay with me. You got your own room. I got mine. We're not crossing that physical line. But I want to bring you into my space so I can show you how I love you. Okay? Because the love warrants the submission. So, and this empowers the love empowers the man, and the submission empowers. That's what the woman has the final say here. She is empowered. So we have to look at this. I'm bringing you into my house. I'm going to show you how we're going to eat. I'm not just going to tell you what I want to eat. I'm going to show you how to prepare these meals. I'm going to show you how we're going to dress. I'm going to take you and we're going to get these clothes and we're going to dress. I'm going to show you how we're going to invest. I'm going to show you how we're going to exercise and prioritize our day. Okay? And if she agrees to this and you're doing this, and she says, the way you feeding, the way you got me eating, it got me bloated. The way you loving me ain't for me. You see what I'm saying? The way you're loving me, the way you showing me love, it ain't for me. The way you got me dressed and I feel too covered up or I feel not covered up enough. She has the decision to be like, yes, this is for me. This type of love is for me. And she's allowing you to show her all of this love, even if she sees the way you're cooking and she knows she can add something. She's not adding it at the time. She's trusting you. She's submitting. You're showing her what your love looks like by completely loving her in every aspect of life. And she's showing you what her submission looks like by trusting you in every love that you're showing her. And if she can add value to that, she has the decision to be like, I can add value to that. This love makes me feel loved and I love it. Or she can be like, I got to walk away from this. In that situation, you can remain friends. In that situation, you can remain friends. Now, I shared this with my brother, and he said, that would be perfect if a woman would allow you to love her like that. But who's going to do that? I shared this with my mom. And when I started talking about this, okay, mom's old school. She hung up on me. She called me back and was like, all right, now what were you saying? And I walked her through this. She's like, I want to try that with your dad. They've been, so she called me back 10 minutes after that. She was like, he's not going to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, you can't expect that. Y'all been married for 40 years. And that, she was, and I know how the conversation went. She went in like, hey, we gonna sleep in separate rooms. My dad like, no. Like, I want to eat how you want me to eat. So let's go to the store and shop and get everything and prepare some meals so I know how you want it. He said, no. You know what I'm saying? I want to dress how you want me to dress. So let's go shopping and get it. And he said, no. And she said, oh, so you don't love me. And he gave her the look like, we've been married for 40 years. You tripping. You know what I'm saying? But do you feel like that is something, because you're not crossing those physical bounds? Do you feel like that is something that you could do that would bring is this something that people could do that would bring that respect, that cultural respect into the situation? And is this something that you would be willing to do? Because like my pops is absolutely a no.
Yeah. Um, so honestly, I'm about to tell you this. No, I would absolutely not do that.
Okay.
And the reason why, and I don't want to disagree with you, but I think everything that you said, I feel was superficial.
Okay.
Um, and the reason I say that because you got to understand the word says, and this is where I think men really miss, and I talk about it in the book. I think it's where men really miss it. The word tells us to love our wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. So at the end of the day, we actually are serving no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so everything that you said shouldn't have to be
Okay.
because if I'm in alignment with God and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, she's going to automatically see that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to be like, yo, I need you to move in or I need you to see what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm in alignment with God, everything that I'm supposed to do concerning her, she's going to see.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when it comes to submission, and this is another thing, if it's a true woman, a God,
Mm-hmm.
she'll be able to submit when you submit.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you submit to the Most High, she can't help but not submit because you in
Mm.
alignment and you doing what you're supposed to do. And so everything that you said sounded good, but I believe it was also superficial because at the end
Right.
of the day, you saying, I need to prove to you what it's going to look like. But
Mm.
I never in there did I hear you say, this is what God wanted me to do. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And so you going into it like, I need to quote unquote be God in this relationship to prove to you how this is going to go. But the
Mm-hmm.
reality is, never once did you say, "All right, God, is this what I'm supposed to do?" And I think that
Right.
goes back to that post of, "Are we really consulting God?" So it's cool to say, "This is somebody I want to be with," which is fine. But now I need
Right.
to go to God and be like, "All right, God, what do I need to start doing to become who I need to be for this person?" Instead of what do I need to do
Right.
to get this person? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Okay.
when you
So
saying,
yeah.
so she got her stuff, I got my stuff, that's cool. Let's keep it that way. And
Right. So it's
now,
not like a set blueprint. Like
yeah,
it's nothing that you could just set the blueprint. You got to trust God. Yeah.
yeah. And so when you in alignment with God, and if it's somebody that's really supposed to be meant for you, she can't help but get on board
Mm-hmm.
because now you are the one submitting to who you supposed to submit to, and that's the uh I guess what's the word I want to use, the linear of how it's supposed to go. When you
Mm-hmm.
submit to, you know what I'm saying, you being the head, quote unquote,
Right.
but the reality is the head is God. So
Right.
when
The
you
order
doing
of
what you're supposed to
operations.
get,
Yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
when you doing what you're supposed to do, the way that God set it up, she's going to get on board because she's your helpmeet. And so that her natural ability is to help. And so she's gonna get on board whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing, and even whatever she's supposed to be doing, because you in alignment, and then she gonna be in alignment.
Right. And see, man, you just explained that perfectly. You just explained
Yeah.
that perfectly.
So yeah, everything you said, I was just like, bro, yeah, that sound. And honestly, that don't even really the way you were saying, I'm like, bro, that don't even sound healthy. And the
Man.
reason I say it because it sounds also too like you are kind of lording over her.
Well, see, that's why, like, I was trying to, when I was studying the post, it was like,
Mm,
surely this has to be the person, and we completely throw God and discernment out the window. So I was
mm-hmm,
like, let me put myself in a place
mm-hmm,
where we're doing that. And
mm-hmm.
then you kind of answered the question in the next sentence when you said, then when we get married or too involved and things start shifting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how do we balance that out? Do we have to live what life will be like before the marriage
Mm-mm.
so those things won't
No,
shift? And then the way you
no.
explained it comes back to the trusting
Yeah,
God. You have to trust in God.
yeah.
Yeah. So
And
man,
that's even like, we had these conversations all the time when people talk about even with sex before marriage, and they're like, yo, I got to test drive it, whatever.
right, right.
The reality is this, man. If we just be honest, just say that you love sex,
Mm,
because at the end of the day, yo, sex is sex. Um, but if it's the right person, when y'all come together, sex is really just about communication, bro. Like, you know what you like, she knows what she likes, and y'all coming together and y'all doing what y'all supposed to do as far as covenant, and then y'all can then have those conversations of, what I'm saying, what you like, what she likes, and then I don't think it could ever be bad when y'all having those conversations and y'all actually meant to be with each other. You see what I'm saying?
right,
And
right.
so it's fine to just say, yo, I just like sex. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
True.
That's
True.
just the reality. Like, yo, you don't need to test drive it. You've already had sex before, so you already know what it's like.
Hmm.
So it ain't nothing you got to test drive. All you got to do is just have that conversation when you get, what I'm saying, when you get married, of, yo, these are things that I like, these are things that I don't like, and
Right.
then y'all come, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, the whole time you was explaining, I was just like, bro,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know about that, but
Yeah. When I tell you when I study
hmm
things, I like to put my feet
hmm
in the shoes
yeah,
of what I'm seeing, and I
hmm
like when I thought about it, I was like, this
hmm
is this
hmm
is out there. But if you look at
hmm
the culture and what's being pushed on social
oh,
media
definitely, definitely,
you're
bro,
gonna see people that are like,
yeah,
that's what I like.
yeah, but
You're gonna see
that's a
women that are
danger,
like, yeah.
yeah, and that's a danger definitely of one, this culture, but also social media, bro, because this is what I tell people: you can always find what you're looking for.
Hmm.
So whatever it is that you got in your mind, as far as like what direction or whatever, you can always find somebody that's going to agree with you. So all you
Mm,
need is just that one person. You see what I'm
right.
saying? And so, and you like, oh, well, they doing it, and so that's the danger, because again, if you don't have that true genuine relationship with God, you going into things solely on your own emotion, your own impulses, and then when you go into it and you already deep in it, that's when you like, God, where was you at? And
Mm.
God is like, yo, you know what I'm saying? I've been
I
here
was
the
here the
entire
whole
time,
time. Where was
but
you
we
at?
never had these conversations. You
For
just knew
real.
what you wanted to do, and now that it went left, now you want me to bail you out. And that's
Mm.
where it's like, okay, we got to start doing things different. And the reality is, we can just start saying, yeah, we love God, but we
Hmm.
don't love him enough to
Right.
include him. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Man.
I think we just got to start being real with ourselves and saying, God is just there just to bail us out and
Mm.
not necessarily to be our father. So yeah,
Mm. Man, that's yeah, man. See, this is why this is so
bruh.
important, man. That post, bro. Yo, hey, if people ain't getting nothing from this, something wrong.
And look, but
For real.
don't get it twisted, bro. Like it sounds good, but again, these are still battles that I have, because I'm
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like, God, I got all that, I might have the information, but I'm like, all right, so when can I start applying it? But God is like,
Yeah.
nope, we still gotta work on some things. And
True.
so that goes back to the whole, I'm tired of waiting, I'm tired of this, and this. And God is like, bro, you are free to do whatever you want to do, but just trust and believe it ain't gonna be your best. So
Yeah, and like I said, you had the March 2nd, you had March 3rd, and you came right back on March 4th.
yeah, dang, that's
Yeah, you
wild, bro.
you was on it, you
That's
know,
wild.
and you said, and yeah, you said, I feel like this conversation has been coming up a lot lately, and feel like this is something that I really struggle with accepting. The idea of
Mm,
people being
yeah.
content with being single for the rest of their lives, even if it's a real and true desire of theirs to be married. I have to wonder if someone has genuine desire to live out something. Is God that kind of God that will not give you the desire of your heart if you are in line with his will and not just for selfish pleasure? I question that. And then I question, what are we doing on our end that is either prolonging this from happening or preventing it from coming to pass? Is it that we are content and we become so fearful, weary, and doubtful because waiting seems like punishment instead of refining? Man, that's key right there. God's timing, plans, and ways are perfect. but it's when we start to interfere, rush, and second guess that we throw things out of alignment and it begins to look like God's will instead of our uncertainty. Lastly, is God obligated to bless if we are not operating by his standards? Yeah, you end these posts with some serious questions. For real. That's something that I
I
definitely
didn't even
see.
realize I was that deep, bro.
Oh man.
No, I'm joking.
I'm like, yeah, you hit send, you know. But I'm glad you did though. I'm glad you did. And on this part where you said in line with his will, and I think this is something like going forward in interviews, I wanna ask people, when you think about God's will, what do you believe is saying when it says being in line with God's will?
So for me, it's just his way of doing things, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So, he gave us the blueprint, and if you in alignment with it, that's his will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's really deeper than that, bro.
Okay.
I think it's really just you. He gave you the direction, he gave you the instruction, and you follow those instructions.
Okay.
I believe if you follow the instructions, then you're in his will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I asked that because, like I said, man, with 7 kids,
Hmm.
you get asked a lot of questions,
Hmm.
and then sometimes the way that me and you would talk about it, you can't talk about it, with a younger
Hmm.
person. They may not be able to understand it like that. So like I said, I'm probably gonna ask everybody that I get
Hmm.
on the nourishment series with this
Hmm.
question just to get
Yeah.
it out there more. Do you have a will right now? I'll tell you how I look at it. Like, do
Hmm.
you have a will?
You asking me personally?
Yeah, do you have a
Oh,
will?
we all do. Yeah.
No, no, I mean like, oh, a living will,
Oh,
like,
living
yeah.
will like a no, no, no. That was a matter of fact. I just had a meeting with a financial advisor. He's like, bro, I need you to do that. So, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Because when I explain it to the kids, I try to make it as make it as like as real as possible, as
Hmm.
as visual as possible.
Hmm.
So I try to explain it as, are you in the line to receive the godly inheritance that comes from God's covenant? Are you in the line that's leading to hell?
Hmm.
Like, that's kind of how I when I look at God's will, that's kind of how I try to explain it in visions. Once
Hmm.
you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're in the line
Yeah.
of your godly inheritance.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, the actions that you're taking, are they representing the character of God once you've made that
Right.
decision? And we're none of us are going to be perfect. We're going to make
Hmm.
mistakes, but when you make mistakes, are you hastening to humble yourself and get back right with
Hmm.
God, or are you taking decisions that disconnect you even more?
Right. Yeah.
So if you're in line with God's will, you're in the line to your
Hmm.
godly inheritance. That's how I like to
Yeah.
explain it to
And
them.
I think so. I've had this conversation with multiple people, and it's wild when they when things don't go like the way they want it to go. They always say like, "Is this God's will?"
Hmm.
For my life. So when I made that post about people being single and they got a desire to be married,
Hmm.
and then they're just like, "Man, I can't find nobody." Maybe this is just God's will that I be single. And I'm like, man, that's tough for me because if it's a desire of yours, I can't see God being that type of guy where he will give you that desire just to say, I'm not going to give it to you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so that's when I have to question, all right, and I even said it like, what is it that we're doing on our end that's
Hmm.
prolonging it? Or, you know what I'm saying? So I truly believe when it comes down to it, if I got a desire to be a husband, there's no, the only way that's not going to happen if I'm stepping outside of that husbandship.
Hmm.
So in my development time, you see what I'm saying? I can choose what direction I want to go in, whatever. if I necessarily like jump the gun and be like, yo, I'm just gonna start dating this person, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I'm deciding to do something that's not in alignment with where I know I'm supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
that's where things get hazy. And I think that's where people miss it. We question whether God is really that cruel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, that God ain't that type
Right.
of
Yeah.
God. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so now we got to take a step back and see what it is that we doing that's got that disconnect from what it is that we desire to where we're at
Right.
now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man. And what I seen in the post was when you were talking about the waiting actually feeling like waiting instead of refining,
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
that's a major thing. And what God gave me from that post was waiting for God's timing doesn't mean you should be stagnant. That's the time for you to take action on all the things in your heart. So you got that daily relationship with God. He's always giving you things that need action.
Right.
Like, yeah, I need to act on these. I need to.
Hmm.
So why your weight ain't stagnant? You only
Right.
only when you allow yourself to get stagnant does it feel like weight. Does the
Hmm.
weight feel like actual
Yeah.
weight? You know. So that's the time when we take all the things that's coming into our hearts. We got to just act on them and keep
Hmm.
acting on them.
Yeah.
And then he said God has blessed us with what we need to journey to the next round of blessings he has for us. Taking the blessings you currently have for granted takes you out of alignment with God's victorious path for you. So
Hmm.
if we start looking at what we're going through in the flesh, we're
Hmm.
taking our eye off the ball, from what's really going on and what's
Right.
really bringing us, along in victory. So that's what he gave me from that post right there.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. So that was yeah, that was another deep post right there, you know. And there's a couple more. These ain't,
Hmm.
there's a couple
Yeah.
more because we went second, third, fourth, and then you came right back on the
Uh,
sixth. So I'm like,
we
man, what
can
happened on the fifth?
yeah,
I'm
we
thinking,
can
oh
always
man,
do
I'm like, it must have been a.
sometimes I think I gotta let people breathe, man. I don't be trying to overload, bro.
Then you
Yeah.
came back on the sixth in the first line. I think it's time for a lot of us to start being real with ourselves. And I said, oh. I said, here we go. So I think it's time for a lot of us to start being real with ourselves. How many people can honestly say that they know what they are looking for when it comes to your future wife or husband? Forget looks, because we already know you have to physically attracted to the person. Honestly, throw all the superficial stuff out, because you should be past the surface and should now be wondering what their character is like. Do they have moral standards, and can I feel safe with them and know they got me? Now ask yourself, with all these things you are looking for in this person, are you or can you be the same for them? Stop requiring and demanding certain things from people that you aren't willing to be yourself. We say we're getting tired of waiting. Well, maybe that is the problem. We're too busy waiting instead of be busy becoming. And like I said, you say things in past posts that you bring like it comes to fruition soon. And that's one of those times, because the last post we struggling with waiting, and this post we're realizing that it's not a wait. This is time that we should be becoming. And when I read it, if I was to take the flesh approach, when you talk about the superficial and taking the looks out of it, if you're going solely off looks, which we know way too many people are doing today, if you're going solely off looks, then the person that you're attracting is going to be solely going off your wallet. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going solely off looks, so they know they got you. They're going solely off your wallet. If you picking and choosing by looks, they're picking and choosing by where they value you as far as what's in your bank account.
Mm.
So if I was looking at taking it from that flesh approach when I was reading it, and when
I mean, it could be looks for them too, though. It don't
oh
necessarily have
yeah,
to be
yeah,
finances.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
definitely,
I got you.
definitely. And then what God revealed to me in that situation, he said, take expectations in the person out of it and let the connection grow organically. The only expectation you should have is in God to be who he says he is. He'll teach you, lead you, and guide you into the one of a kind love he created just for you and your person. And then that goes back to how he sees you as one flesh with that person. If you rush it, you gonna be your spirit. He gonna see you as one in Tulum in that bedroom with
Mm.
getting with somebody else. So yeah,
So I'm a
expectations being in God to be who he says he is.
yeah. So I'm gonna put myself out there, bro. And man, I don't believe I'm really about to say this. Um, so with that post, um, there was a podcast I had listened to a while ago. And the lady, she was on there and she was talking about what she looks for in a man.
Mm-hmm.
And so she created a list, and she said she had about 80 things on that list. And I was like,
Wow.
dang, 80. I was like, yo, that's crazy. And I was like, yo, that's wild. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just write down some stuff. And so I created a list, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And on that list of what I look for in a wife, I came up with like 60 things, dog.
Ooh-wee.
And I was like, yo, that's wild. And out of the 60, only I think three, maybe four were physical.
Mm.
Everything else was internal. And now don't get me wrong, like she's not gonna have all 60 things, but
Right,
what they
right.
are, what it is, one, it now takes you to a deeper level
Mm-hmm.
of um I think growth when it comes to what it is that you really desire in a wife.
Mm-hmm.
But two, you start to be able to you can now weed out certain candidates or certain women because you like, yo, because you also on that list, of course you got to have your non-negotiables. So I do have
Right.
some
Yeah,
non-negotiables, you
definitely.
know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So you start with your non-negotiables, and then from there you can start seeing, again, she's not gonna have all things on the list, but there's some parameters that are like, yeah, I can rock with this. And I think a lot of us we don't even have those type of lists.
Right.
And I ain't saying you need a list, but I am saying you need to have some type of moral compass, or your non-negotiables, everything. But instead, we so big on compromise to
Yeah.
say like, yo, I got somebody. Oh, they fit this box, or they check these boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll compromise even on my non-negotiables because maybe
Mm.
I can change them, or maybe I can work. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
now we put ourselves in a situation that we never wanted to be in, just to say that we got somebody, and that's a
Mm.
dangerous space, man. And so,
Yeah,
um,
because God, if they're not in line with who he's showing you he created you to
mm,
be, yeah, that's
yeah.
dangerous. You're right. That's a
And here
dangerous
and here's
place.
and here's the crazy part, dog. Again, because of the way me and God relationship set up, you can't tell me that I can't go to God and be specific on what it is that I'm looking for,
Oh yeah.
and that He not want to honor that request. As long as I'm in the will,
Mm-hmm.
why can't I go to God and say, yo, I'm looking for X, Y? Even I'm talking, if you want body type, if you want characteristics, all that stuff, why can't I go to God and say, this is the type of woman that I'm looking for, and not think that you can't have that?
Yeah, well that's the safest place to take
What do you mean?
what you thinking
But
and
that's what
feeling.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I think we look at God as, I don't know, it's wild. I think we look at God as like this harsh God of,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like he
Right.
ain't trying to do nothing for us. But the reality is, bro, he got our best interests at heart. And he wants to give you the desires of your heart. So why can't you go to God and be like, yo, this is something that I desire.
Mm-hmm.
Not, and again, I want you to be careful. This is not, I ain't talking flesh now.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but this is something that I desire. And if I'm in the will, why don't I think that God can't bless that?
Mm.
But instead, we got to be like, well, I don't think God gonna do that for me. So now I got to figure it out on my own. And that's where the trouble
Mm.
comes into place. So,
Nah, yeah,
so
you 100% right about that
yeah,
because God will let you know if you're out of bounds.
yeah.
You know,
But are you gonna listen though?
that's
Mm-hmm.
what it come down to. That's what it come down to. So
Yeah.
yeah, that he's definitely the safe space to bring everything that you
Mm-hmm.
desiring. And if it's out of bounds, he's definitely gonna reveal it to you.
Right.
And then we got to get out of our own way to accept that and humble ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
or you're gonna see everything that you desire and coming to you
Yeah.
because you were if you look at it on how it was when God made his mind up that he was going to wipe land out. And
Mhm.
then you would see some of the prophets be like, but what if it's 15 people there
Yeah.
that are, you know?
Hmm.
So if you're not having these conversations with
Hmm.
God, you don't know,
Yeah.
you know? So it's very key to, everything that you feeling, bring it to him.
Definitely.
That's very key. And after I was gonna stop after March 6th. I was like, all right.
We can always do another one, bro.
I was at that point when I was studying, I was like, all right. But then I
Oh,
seen March 15th.
dang, that's crazy.
And March 15th was there's a 70-year-old lady that I sat down with who asked me about this, and a 17-year-old kid who asked me about what you're talking about. And not they didn't see your post or anything, but what you're talking about in this post, they asked me about this. You see what I'm saying? So I was like, this is like right now.
Mm.
What's going on here? And it's very deep, man. Let me get into it. Let's talk about faith and when faith is truly faith, or when does it turn into delusion. I
Mm.
look at the story of Joseph and the dream God gave him, and it was 20 plus years before that dream came into fruition. He was sold into slavery by his brothers, accused of rape, threw into prison. You can't tell me he wouldn't look delusional for still believing what God showed him. So, is this what faith is? Believing no matter what, or no matter how long? Are there things we are supposed to be learning in the process, preparing us for the blessing? What if it just seems like too much to handle? I mean, slavery, accusations, and prison seem like a lot to endure. Am I really supposed to believe that God really has something for me after having to go through all that? I know me and God's relationship, and I know when I hear from God, but there have been things I think He has been telling me lately, and I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to second guess if it's Him or something deep down in me that I want to see happen. Just a
Mm.
conversation God and I were having that got me thinking. And it's almost verbatim, because the lady asked me,
Wait, hold on real quick, bro. My
okay,
bad.
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't mean to
sure.
cut you. No, 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 no. It's crazy. Like when you reading these, and it takes me back to the space I was in
Mm.
and why I wrote it. Yo, that's wild, bro. But go ahead. That's
Okay, well,
wild.
shoot, hey, that's
That's
going that, yeah,
crazy.
for real, man.
And it just made me think of, man. It just made me
God's
think
good,
about
man. God is so good.
why. It just made me think about why I. Dang, that's wild, bro. Yeah, go ahead, dog.
Now, the
That's
70
crazy.
year the 70-year-old lady was asking me if she was past the age, she was feeling like she was past the age of doing something that could be impactful.
Mm.
Okay, and was it faith that she needed to make an adjustment and just accept that she wasn't going to do nothing impactful, or was it delusion that was
Mm.
telling her she can't do nothing impactful? And then I'm
Mm.
like, Abraham, 75 years old when
Mm.
he got the call. You see what I'm saying? Like, as long as you breathing and beyond, you're gonna have the opportunity to make an impact. For real. And then, but the young man had them same type of claims. Like, how do I know what faith is, or if I'm just telling myself something? And that was very deep, man. So I'm counting on what you about to say about it to give me something that I'll be able to show to that kid and that lady. But first, when you talked about Joseph and
Mm-hmm.
how he had to wait through all that. And we got to realize the intentions of Joseph's brothers wasn't to sell him into slavery. It was to
The
kill him.
killer.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, but think about, if they had killed him, then when the famine hit, they would have died.
Mm.
So everything that he went through, he had to endure for God to put him in a place of responsibility and trust, where he was
Mm.
a vessel of nourishment to those who were looking to kill him in the past. But now you're in a position where you are that vessel of nourishment. They're coming to you for food now. You see what I'm saying? So everything that you have to endure, if you're enduring it with God and trusting in God, and how you said, man, to still believe after all that, to still believe, that's what it takes. To still believe after all that, because God is putting you in a position that people are going to need, or they're going to be lost. They're not going to be able to be found if you let it go. If you let what you're enduring break you, it's something at the other side of that where you're the vessel that they need. And that, I just thought that was, man, that was just, that tied in so beautifully for him.
All right, I'm gonna answer it in three parts.
Okay.
The first part, I'm gonna answer. The second part is gonna be for the 70-year-old, and the third part gonna be for the 17-year-old.
Okay.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Invest TV Television, and also follow us on Facebook at Invest TV Television. Tune into the algorithm that benefits the creatives and stay updated on everything that's going on with the FORREAL family. Welcome to the good vibes.
So the first part, and this is, bro, this is one of the toughest things when you in line with God. When God tells you something and you know you heard from him, and to know without the shadow of a doubt that it was from him, but then again, all these things, turmoil, all this stuff happens, it's the hardest thing to believe that you really heard from him.
Mm.
But then this goes back to what I said previously of God ain't that type of God to show you something just for it not to happen. And so I think a lot of times God meets us where we're at to get us to where we need to go. And so in order to, depending on what it is that he told you, I think a lot of times he tells you in where you're at to now shape you to where you need to go. And so he sees what things you're missing. He's seeing areas you need to grow in. And so what happens, I think, a lot of times is, again, we look at it as punishment, but instead it's refinement.
Mm-hmm.
But because of a lot of times, that flesh wants to creep up and be like, man, this can't be God. All this is happening. But
Right.
there's still some things inside of you that God's trying to break you from. And I don't think we really see it as breaking as much as it is punishment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we start really questioning. And that's where you got to be locked in to know, like, yo, whatever's happening, God gonna get the glory out of this. But for sometimes we can't see past the present
Mm-hmm.
because again, God can see the ending from the beginning, but again, we can't see it. And so it's tough to think that God would really do it. And a lot of times, I don't even know. I'm not going to necessarily say it's God as much as it is Him allowing these things to happen for you to become who you need to become.
Right.
And so, I mean, you look at Job. I mean, you look at Joseph. You look at all of them. They had to go through some stuff, but at the end, it was like seven times fold. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mm-hmm.
restored. Everything was good. And so
Right. Right.
I think when we look at past, even the things that we've been through in the past and how God brought us out,
Mm-hmm.
why do it's weird that we still question that He's not gonna bring us out of this.
Man.
So yeah. So that's the first part. For the 70-year-old woman, um, again, like I said, God is the God of time. And I think a lot of times we look at our current situation and we wonder, can we still do what God wants us to do? And again, like you said, as long as you breathe in, as long as you got breath in your lungs, like God still can utilize you. And so I would just tell her whatever she's thinking, act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's in alignment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
As long as it's giving, I mean, edifying the kingdom, yeah, I can't see it not being wrong. You see what I'm saying?
Man.
Um,
Truly.
so I would just tell her, hey, just step out on faith and let go of the noise that you got cluttering
Mm-hmm.
and just act on it. Now for the 17-year-old, this is what I'm gonna say. You know it's faith when you know it's not something you would want to do. And so a lot of times I was like, yo, is this God or is this me? And then I got to take a step back and I'd be like, yo, is this something I really would tell myself I would want to do? You see what I'm saying? And so if it's not, then I know it's God. But if it's something I know that it will come easy for me, so that's another thing. Like if it comes easy, it's probably not gonna be God. But if it's something that's gonna challenge where you're at, then it's probably coming from God. But if it's something like if you get something and it's like, man, is that me or God? And then I can just instantaneously do it, that's probably not him.
Right.
But if it's something where I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know about that, then that might be something you actually want to sit in for a second to see why it is that you're getting at. You see what I'm saying? So I would say that to him. I would have him ask himself if that's something that I can just easily do, or if that's something that's going to challenge me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, because that challenge is gonna make you stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything that's in line with what God, who God is growing you into, it's gonna be from, it's gonna grow
It's
your
going to
strength.
require, because
Yeah.
honestly, if it's not faith, then it's not going to require God.
Right.
But if it
Right.
is faith, then it's gonna have to require him, because you ain't gonna be able to do it on your, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be able to do it on your own. But if it's something I can just automatically do on my own,
Yeah.
what's God? What do I need God for? You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a great way of explaining it. That's a great way of explaining. For real. Walk by faith, not by sight. Step out
yeah,
on faith. Yeah, those, all of those things. Faith without works is
yeah,
dead, you know? All of those things are, to sum it up, is require God. If
mhm,
it has to, it requires God.
right.
Like, wow, I've never heard it like that before. That's, I gotta write that down real quick. I need that. I need that. For real. I gotta write that down real quick. Man, that's great right there. Um, all right, man. We're gonna, you know, we, do you mind me doing one more?
It's your show, man. I got some time, bro.
Well,
It's your show.
then that's what we're gonna do then. I got one more.
Like I said, we can always do another one, bro.
I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
gonna it's gonna have to happen. I'm pretty sure. Um, and this one, it stood out to me first because it was on April Fool's Day. You know, that's my birthday month.
Mm,
So I'm like, all right, April 1st. He's coming transparency post. He's preferencing it by saying
mm,
transparency post. So I'm like, all right, here we go. You know, and it says, when it comes to the things that God has placed in my life for me to pursue and take on, I have to be all the way honest and say I don't commit or give
mm,
it my all like I should. One of the main reasons being there is part of me that wants to be able to experience and share these moments with someone, and not being able to make that opportunity happen. Well, hold on. Not being able to make that opportunity feels lackluster. Trust me, I am not saying this for sympathy or pity. I'm still going to pursue these things and see them through. Plus, I know how distracted I would become if there was someone. I'm just being honest and saying there is so much more I could be doing, but something about it just feels off without there being someone to share the wins as well as the losses with, someone to bounce ideas off of, vent to, even create with. I try not to question God's process or timing, but I am human and have human emotions, and I know He is invested in all of that. So I can just keep going, knowing that she will get to experience it when it's necessary, and it will all be worth the wait. For real. And yeah, God gave me
crazy.
I'm not gonna lie, he was working with me on that one. For real. Because it's that's something that a lot of people feel when they're
Yeah.
doing things. It doesn't have the, like, for lack of a better word, it doesn't have the punch that you feel like it's supposed to have, you know. And it's not giving me the full fulfillment of joy that it's supposed to have, because I'm not sharing this with somebody. And sometimes I think it hits me sometimes when I think about not being when I'm doing things and my family's not here. I be like, man, I'm about to go stand in front of these people and get this speech, man, and my parents
Yeah.
ain't in the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like things like that, it gets to me. And one of the scriptures that came up when it was, well, first thing that God revealed to me, he said, when you have this feeling, this is not, a lot of people like this the devil, but this feeling right here is not the devil, because this feeling is not things that were put in place to block you. These are things that are coming from within that you're just telling yourself that you're putting on your self-inflicted roadblocks, what I'm saying, in the way a little bit when you think about it like that. But what he led me to was, you are getting in your own way with the buts and with the doubt. Okay, but then he said in Psalms 37:4, he led me to the scripture. He said, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So everything that you're doing, the desire, you have to desire what the Lord is allowing you to do. The parts of what you're doing, it shouldn't feel lackluster. You know what I'm saying? Don't allow yourself to let it feel lackluster. Go into it like, I get to experience this with me and God, because what he's setting up, it's like the time was never missed. Like, wow, why? Like, these were things that were meant for just me and God to experience,
Mm.
because now these things were what was meant for
Yeah.
me, God, and this person. And if companionship, like if we try to rush into something, then you're going to prioritize the value of someone else's voice over the voice of God, and that person is going to be somebody who doesn't value your God-given purpose. You see what I'm saying? So we'll be adding wickedness in when we try and when the battle of righteousness is tough enough. Now we're adding the outside because we rushing. Now we're adding the outside voice that doesn't even care about our God-given purpose. It ain't in line with it at all, but we want it so that we have somebody to experience these things with. But as God made Adam from Eve, God is molding your partner from your willingness. The love meant for you is intellectual, wise, driven. Rushing God's process only waters down that blessing. And yes, if you're not giving your all, you are taking God's process and his love for granted. And if your partner was meant for you to have now, then God would have brought her to you already. Your perfect complement connection is on the other side of where God is sending you. And you have to see it through unwavering. All right. So we have those little bit of doubts and things like that. If I'm having that feeling, is the place that I'm going, if I'm not going at what God is telling me to do unwavering, if I'm having those thoughts of this situation is watered down, how do we correct that and realize that it's not the time for what we're desiring in that moment? How do we, is that just another situation where you just got to sit in it and trust?
Um, so I'm gonna say this. Uh, what you got to realize is emotions are real,
Mm-hmm.
first, and God created the emotions. He gave you the emotions. So first, you got to acknowledge those emotions first.
Okay.
And they true, they're genuine. So when I made that post, like those are genuine like posts. And so, for example, when I first started the sweet potato pie business, and I was going for my licensing and everything, me and my girl had just had our first big breakup, bro. Um,
Mm.
destroyed your boy. And I remember getting the license and everything. And the first person I wanted to call was her,
Right.
but I couldn't. And I just remember being in the kitchen, bro, and it was the craziest thing. Like one of the happiest days felt like one of the lowest days.
Mm.
And so understanding, bro, the reality is emotions are real. But here's the thing: it's not, use the word use the word wicked. I don't necessarily know if it's wicked as much as it is, again, we're human.
Okay.
Um, and so you're gonna have these feelings, you're gonna have these emotions, and I think that's where we got to go to another level when it comes to God, and we got to be like, all right, God, I'm feeling this way. I'm not, you know, what I'm saying I don't like this feeling. I don't like what's happening, and just be honest with God. First of all, God already knows anyway, so it's not like you're gonna catch him off guard. Um, and that's where you just gotta be like, okay, what is it that I'm supposed to learn from this? And I think again, I think a lot of it goes back to again the romanticizing the relationship. And again, if it's a desire, you have, you know, you had a relationship with God where you can ask him and like, you know, why do I feel this way or this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but when I made the post, again, it goes back to the other post too, like, you know, I just rather have something toxic, this is and this, instead of me being in this position to just be me and God, I kept reverting back to how I was feeling, and
Mm-hmm.
now I was making that my God. And so, yeah, you can acknowledge the emotions, but now you got to get into a space of understanding why you feeling the way that you're feeling. And I think once you start to uncover that, I think it makes it easier now to move into the direction you're supposed to go in,
Mm-hmm.
because now you're fully aware and you're fully acknowledging one, the emotion, but two, why. And then when you had that understanding of why, that's where you and God can go to another level, because you can get past the emotional side and now get to the truth or the facts.
Right.
And so I just know for me, when I wrote that post, I wasn't past the emotion
Mm.
and I wasn't trying to get to the fact. You see what I'm saying? So
And
I'd rather stay where I was at and say, God, this is like your fault that I'm going through this, instead of
mm.
understanding why I'm going through it and get to the factual part.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
I'd rather have the excuses than rather walk into what it is that he had for me. Because it's easier for me to stay in that than it is for me to get past it, if that makes sense.
Man, one thing from this episode that I'm realizing is your relationship with God, like, and
Bruh.
I'm just speaking, relationship with God
It ain't for the
is,
weak, bruh.
oh no, it's not for the
It's
weak,
not for the
but
weak,
it is
God.
important with getting through all things.
Bruh.
It is important. Like, ah, man, I hope people realize
Bruh.
how
I joke with my
important
homegirl and I'm like, yo, you really don't want these problems. Like, it
it
sound good to have a good
is.
relationship with God, but I promise you, dog, you really don't want these problems, though.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he gonna hold you accountable, and he gonna take you to a whole nother level. It's gonna be lonely, it's gonna be, uncomfortable, but it's gonna be peaceful at the same time too, because you understand that you hear from him and you had that discernment and you had that awareness. And yeah, it's a whole nother level, but I promise you, bro, you really don't want them.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's something right there, man. And yeah, this conversation was very eye opening for me, man. Very
just
eye
mad that you
opening.
brought all that stuff back up. I was gonna take you back to where now I'm about to have a conversation with God after this. Like, man, like, nah.
Man, yeah, that's something. That's something. Yeah, man, this is life. There's a lot of life in this, man.
Yeah.
I knew that this was major, and I knew this was gonna be a good thing. I didn't realize how much life was gonna come through all of this. Like, for real, man. I appreciate the fact that you let yourself be in a place where God can reach you, because I know how that
Mm.
is. I
Yeah,
know how
yeah.
that is, and I know how tough it can be, man. You know, that's something. And you bringing your emotions and feelings to the right place, because I see that you working them things out, man. For real, like
Yeah.
it's becoming clear. A lot of people can't speak on these things with clarity
Hmm.
and even be able to share what
Right.
they're going through, but you speak through about these things with clarity in the
Hmm.
path through it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And that's very major. That's very major. So before we wrap up, I'm going to do what I'm going to do on every episode going forward. I'm going to ask a couple quick questions.
Okay.
First quick question. What are would you be able to, well, first of all, the For Real show to this point been music playlist based to this point. This is
Hmm.
now we starting to dive in, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like I said, I'm very grateful this is the first episode.
Mhm.
Do you off the top of your head? I know this will change every day, but can you give me 5 songs that put you in the zone, man? Put you in that put you in the mood to where you know you good, put you in the mood where you creating just 5 songs, the must-haves on your playlist. I'm gonna
Ooh,
add these into to the audio version of this on investtv.club.
yeah, that's crazy. So I literally just came across this artist. Her name is Joy Rhodes.
I'm gonna write these down.
Yeah. So she got two, maybe three right now that I just keep on. I've been keeping on heavy rotation for like the last couple days, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So one is called Trust Fall.
Mm-hmm.
The other is called Supposed to Be,
Mm-hmm.
and the third one is I believe it's uh Love Me is the third one.
And you said Joy Rhodes.
Yep, Rhodes.
Okay.
So those three, you said five total.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know it changed by the day, man.
no,
Yesterday,
it does, but I keep, bro. It's wild. Like when I find a song, like I play it for like forever.
yeah, yesterday, man, I had
Let me
Tupac
hope this
shed
don't
so
cut off.
many tears, and then Heaven Got a Ghetto came on, and then right after that, Praise Is What I Do came on, and I was in the zone.
Uh,
I ain't gonna lie to you. My
Hold on,
playlist
let
be
me.
crazy sometimes, but it gets you there.
Let's do this. I got you. Um,
Okay.
so that was three.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh, was another one I just came across. Good Energy. So I
Okay.
don't know if this is I don't know if it's a group or it's called Lunar Vibes,
That's okay. Lunar
but the name of
Vibe.
the song is called Good Energy.
Okay.
And then, oh, what's my girl name? Madison. Um, and I'm gonna throw another one in there. It's called her name is Francesca. Now, these are all kind of like gospel based too, though. So,
That's cool.
the name of the song is called Faith in Me.
How does she spell her name?
Francesca.
Faith in Me. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh man, yeah. I'm definitely gonna implement these on the audio
yeah.
version of this episode over
But
on
yeah, Joy
Invest.
Rose, bro, I just came across her, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
she a whole little vibe, dog.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna check that out. That's
Yeah,
for sure. Another quick one is if you could retain the knowledge, all the knowledge that you gained, and you had to start life over tomorrow, what are you doing? What's the path? What are you doing
nothing,
differently or
nothing,
nothing different?
no.
Straight through.
The only reason I say because I would have never learned nothing if I didn't go through
Mm,
nothing.
mm.
So I wouldn't change nothing.
Yeah, that's deep right
Yeah.
there.
So
All right.
you can't learn nothing if you don't go through nothing. So yeah.
Okay. And okay. Why we about to get out of here? This is the last thing.
All right.
I know you got your book signing coming up. You
Saturday, yeah.
know, I'm gonna make a post that morning to make sure some people get over there, man. I know you
Mm-hmm.
probably gonna be packed already anyway. But I'm gonna ask you to do something. It don't have to be immediately,
Okay.
you know, but I need a book. And I was just gonna order it off of Barnes and Nobles or Amazon. But my
Okay.
mom, a couple weeks ago, my mom sends me a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the people that wrote in my 8th grade yearbook, she
Okay.
sends a picture of what you said. And this is before me and you even talked about doing this. Out
It
of
was
all
something I it was something I wrote in your eighth grade yearbook.
something you wrote in my eighth
Oh
grade
wow.
yearbook,
Okay.
It said, I'm gonna tell you what it says. I'm gonna pull it up right now.
She
You
was going
know,
through the yearbook.
she went through my yearbook. She was like, I found your
Uh-huh.
8th grade yearbook. She told me that
Okay.
morning. That night, she called me
Okay.
and was like, "What does this mean?" And then sent me a picture of it. So
Okay.
I'm out of the 100 people that wrote in my yearbook, this is the one
Okay.
that she sent me. She said, and she sent this to me, and it says, "To my boy Raphael, who I knew since 6th grade, keep trying the ball and don't get cut. Maurice Caradine, aka Mo."
Okay.
She was like, "What does it mean, don't get cut?" I didn't want to tell her that I got cut from the 8th grade basketball
Yeah.
team. And
Okay.
Mr. Yoder was hating, man. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna keep it real. Mr. Yoder was
Okay.
hating. For real. I made all my shots, man. I couldn't help it. I was a little husky at the time. I made all my shots, but I'm like, ain't no way 1,000 years from now when they dig through the
Hmm.
archives, this is the only written messages we got between each other. Now I
Yeah.
need you to send me a book and personalize it. I'm a cash app
I
it.
ain't I ain't write nothing in high school.
No.
Really?
This is
Dang.
what you
Okay. Wow.
this is
Okay.
what you wrote. Keep trying to ball and don't get cut. For real.
So
I
no,
said,
none of the years in high school, I ain't write nothing.
nah, ain't nothing. It ain't nothing in those. Or she hasn't. I'll say she hasn't found it
I don't
yet.
want. Okay, that's wild. Okay. All right.
But if they dig through the crates of the archives 1,000 years from now, this ain't the only written they can have from you to me, man.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I'm gonna need you to personalize that book for me
I
and
got
send
you,
it to
man.
me, man. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Send me. Yeah. Send me your address and stuff. I got you.
you got your yeah. Yeah. I need your cash app, man. So I'm gonna cash app it over to you. And we'll do that. I'm gonna cash app it
Got
over
you.
to you and set that up. But I said, boy. She thought this man was chasing me with a knife or something.
Wow.
Don't get cut.
That's wild.
For real.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy though, because every single time I got cut, man, for some reason, Keith was always right there to laugh. Like every
Bro,
single time. But when I
don't feel
finally
bad.
made the team, he was right there too. And he
Don't feel
still
bad because
laughed.
I got cut. I got cut freshman and sophomore. I ain't try out junior year after that, bro. But
Mm.
it was some politicking though. But it's all good though.
Yeah, Keith was like, "Man, I
Yeah.
don't know why you got cut. You made every shot."
Yeah.
And that boy Justin Brown was like, "Because he husky, but he ain't say husky. He had some choice words."
Yeah. If it's JB, he definitely gonna say some stuff.
For
Yeah.
real. But man, I'm trying to tell you. For real. Yeah, shoot me your cash app on the message, man, and
I got you.
I'm gonna send it out. I'm gonna send it. Well, I don't know how much it's gonna cost to send, but
You good, bro. Don't worry about
I'm
that.
gonna send it out to you, man, and then yeah, we're gonna get on out of here, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna say a quick prayer here before we get up out of here, man. And all right. Lord, I thank you for providing Maurice and I with the opportunity to be a vessel of your glory by providing information, joy, laughter, inspiration, encouragement, understanding, and nourishment that will serve as blessings that will manifest in the lives of your people. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, I'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks.
All right. Yeah.
All right.
Peace.
To be a guest on the Nourishment series or to become a sponsor of the FORREAL Show, reach out to us by email. The email is contact@investtv.club. Once again, the email is contact@investtv.club.
My words symbolize the truth. Doing things only kings got the right to do. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real, for real. Yeah, that's right. We do this for real, for real, for real. Dinner, lunch, breakfast, never forget to say your prayers. Every meal is a blessing. I put money in the right investments.